Hey guys, welcome back to FNC Aquatics. Let me get some good lighting here. Welcome back to the Fish Garage. So today we have another project, but before we start talking about that, I'm just gonna share I had a very busy day, and I'm exhausted right now. It is already nighttime, and the whole morning we were just driving, going to the farm, doing some stuff, walking around in the heat, and I'm exhausted, man. I was just lying in the bed earlier until I just decided, okay, I want to make a video. I want to set up the. Oop, I almost spilled the content or what we're going to do today. But yeah, we will be setting up something. So after all those busy errands, after all those driving in the morning, I met up with a guy. His name is, or his Facebook page is His Hub. He sells fishes. He is also the same guy I got my Amano shrimps from, and he gave me some free pearl weed that day, and which I am trying to propagate. Outside is outside. I can't really show you right now, but it's taking too long to propagate, so I got on a tub of pearl weed earlier from him. So here's the pearl weed, and honestly, I was very satisfied with the price. And look at how healthy this tub of pearl weed is. It's really green and it has a lot of growth. So yeah, go check out Axis Hub. I'm sorry if I'm sabotaging that name. So before we actually start, sorry about that. Before we actually start setting this up, I'm just gonna go over the steps I'm going to take to be successful with this. So first, like I said, I'm envisioning for this is basically just a carpeted tank. So no other hardscape, no other plants, just pearlweed, because pearlweed is a very low-tech plant or very fairly easy to keep plant, and other carpeting plants like Monte Carlo. I actually don't know others. So most of the other carpeting plants that I know are kind of high tech. They don't really grow that well without CO2, but pearlweed grows really well. All you have to do is trim it a lot, because if you don't trim it, it's just gonna grow like a stem plant. Basically, it is a stem plant, but if you try to trim it, it's gonna branch out, and then it's gonna look like a lush carpet. So basically, that's why we're going with some low tech pearlweed plant. And yeah, so other than that, we're just gonna use our previous aquasol we used from our previous projects. The remaining aquasol, I still have a bunch, so we're just gonna fill it up if we can with 2-inch substrate level, so the roots can really grow and hold on to the deep substrate, and that's gonna help establish the pearl weed. And other than that, I have a filter here that I already set up with my fry tub or my incubator tub, and I set it up with there just so I can already cultivate beneficial bacteria. So once we fill this up with water, once we set up all those pearl weed into the substrate, fill it up with water, all we have to do is transfer that filter in here with all of those beneficial bacteria, and then basically it's gonna cycle really quickly. So I'm gonna show you the filter first, and then we're gonna get started. So here is the incubator tub, and as you can see, there are two sponge filters here. So the one here, the regular looking one, is the main filter for this whole tank. And the special type of sponge filter I have here in the corner is supposedly for this cube tank, which is for this cube tank, I mean. And then after we set up the cube tank, I'm basically just gonna take that out there, put it in here, and let it spread the beneficial bacteria culture inside those sponges. So that's the plan. Now let's start setting up the tank. So the first thing we're going to do is just simply clean the tank. And yeah, and not really that deep of a clean, because I already cleaned this when I first got it. We already scraped off all the watermarks, and now we just have to brush off or sponge off all those dust that has accumulated in this tank, because it's been here in this fish garage in the corner of the shelf here for quite some time. So it has been collecting a lot of dust and other unwanted dirt. So yeah, so I'm just gonna take out all of my leftover aqua soil we used for previous projects. Actually, I have a bunch here that I have not opened yet, but as you can see, there's this plastic bag over here, and that's one of the leftover soil we haven't used. And I'm just gonna share some insight about the brands I'm using. So the smaller bags there, you can see at the bottom, are Switch brand. And Switch is actually a well-known brand in the fish keeping hobby here in the South Asia, maybe here in the Philippines specifically. And it's a good brand. You think it has a good reputation. But this one I'm putting right now, the aqua soil, I think it's called Amazonia or Amazons or something. It's not a good soil, and it's very cheap. I think it does have some benefits in lowering the pH, but if you're planning to use it for a lush aquascape for the plants, I don't think it's gonna do really well because I'm using it for my 10 gallon, and the plants haven't really been growing that well, and some leaves are also melting, especially in the rooted ones. So this is now the height of the substrate. This is the desired height we want, not too much, almost as 2 inches, almost 2 inches, maybe it's 1.5 inch, and I think that's enough. So what we're gonna do now is just gonna fill it up with water and drain the water. And we're doing that because even though most aqua soils are ready to use, you don't really need to rinse it, because it's also not suggested to rinse aqua soil before putting it in the tank, simply because it has some nutrients and basically you're rinsing off those nutrients. But what we're gonna do, we're just gonna fill it up, let all those debris stuck between the aqua soil just float up. And as you can see, I'm kind of agitating the substrate just so we're releasing all those muck out. And yeah, look at that. That is kind of dirty. We don't want that. And the next step is basically just drain it. So now that we have siphoned all the water out, and I'm pretty sure this is going to look clean, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna level the substrate, and we're gonna keep the substrate damp so that when we're adding our pullweed, it's not gonna float up, or at least the substrate is gonna be tight enough for the pearlweed to hold on. So I'm using this sponge here just to take out any more excess water and just make it damp enough, just so there's no space between the aqua soil. So yep, this is what we want it to look like. It is wet, there's water under that aqua soil, but the surface is not covered entirely with water. So the next step we're gonna do is, honestly in this part, I wasn't sure if this was the best way. So what I did there is simply just try to take out a chunk of this pearlweed tub. So look at this. I'm actually very, very impressed of how this looks. That dirt is just getting held on by the roots of the pearlweed, and it's really hard to pull out. It's very dense, and I'm just gonna rinse it. Try to clean as much dirt as I can off of these roots. So now we are going to start putting in the pearlweed in the tank. To be honest, I don't think this was the most efficient way to add pearlweed in the tank. This took too much time. I was individually trimming them into size and then individually adding them to the tank. This process took me like 30 minutes to 40 minutes. And yeah, there's probably a better way. Please do tell me if there is. But what do? I just work with what I have. So this is how it looks like. And honestly, even though it took a lot of time, I think it looks great. I did my best to really borrow in the pearlweed deep enough so that when we add water, it won't float. And look how much pearlweed we use. We only use like 1/3 of this tub, and we are almost filling up the surface of this tank. So the next step is we're just gonna transfer it over here. I'm just gonna move all this immerse setup up here. I'm gonna take them out tomorrow outside so they can have a natural light. And this light is gonna be used for what it was bought for this cube tank. So now I'm just gonna add the water in. During this process, I was kind of concerned because I was really trying to be patient here. As you can see, the valve is not really all the way up. So finally, it's filled up, and yeah, I'm very happy that no pearlweed floated up to the surface. There were some leaves, which is expected. No, that's not really a big problem here. I'm just gonna take that out with some fish net. But look at that. Even though the pearlweed is kind of wacky right now, they're not really established yet. They don't know where the sun is or the light is. They're gonna look like that for a while. Maybe a few hours with this light on, they're gonna adjust themselves and look straight up, and they're gonna look fine. So the next step we're gonna do is we're gonna take out this filter here, and yeah, this is how it looks like. So I'm just gonna wash it off here, leave the gunk out, but not too much because that gunk is actually holding a bunch of beneficial bacteria, so we want that in the tank. And now this is my mini air pump. This is very cheap. I bought this for like 100 pesos from Shopee, and it's USB powered, and surprisingly it has a strong output. And thankfully it also has this clip or this carabiner. I can just hang it there in the shelf, and yeah, we're just gonna plug the sponge filter here. So this is how it looks like, and we're just gonna simply stick it to the glass. And yeah, I'm having some acrobatics here. And voila, we are done. And the good thing about this sponge filter, you can actually adjust that long neck there, the output neck. I don't know if that's the proper term. Yeah, the air output. So I can just put it up here, and then it's gonna extend up to the surface, because we don't really want this air output to be underwater, because that could be too much flow for the shrimps, and probably that's gonna make them uncomfortable, maybe stress them out. So I'm gonna show you. We're gonna turn it on. Now we plug in the air pump, the mini air pump, and even though it's very small, look how much it's pumping. So looking good so far. The water's kind of blurry, but it's gonna clear out with this sponge filter. So finally, we are done with the setup. And for me, that was a success, especially when we added the water. No pearlweed started to float up, and I think that's a win. That's a big win for me, at least. So I did not think that it will take that long as I thought it would, but yeah, the part when I was adding each pearlweed individually into the substrate was the one that took most time. And I think there was a better way I could have done that. So if you guys have any ideas, any suggestions I could have done, or made have improved the process a lot more, made it more time efficient, do comment down below, because I am very eager to learn more from you guys, and of course from our viewers there who are also interested in setting up their own pearlweed carpet. Yeah, that could really help them a lot. So we're not gonna be adding any shrimps here anytime soon. We're gonna wait for this to cycle fully. although we use the filter from our fish fry tub, which basically has a lot of beneficial bacteria already established in the sponge, we're still gonna have to make sure that the whole tank is filled with beneficial bacteria, all the surface area in the glass, all the substrate, and that's gonna make it sure for us that the tank is safe for the shrimps. And yeah, of course, the next thing we're gonna have to look out for is algae. I'm just hoping that the light is not too intense for any algae to grow on the surface of the glass, and especially not on the leaves of the plants. But I do know that pearlweed is a very efficient grower. It sucks up a lot of nutrients from the water column and the substrate, and I hope that's gonna leave nothing for the algae to grow on. So yeah, that's the other positive note we have to take note of. But other than that, all we have to do now is wait. So yeah, that was a very tiring project. It's already like around 1 a.m. Yeah, it took a lot longer than expected, but I like how it looks. So that's all for this video, guys. If you have any comments, any suggestions, do comment down below. If you like the video, like the video. If you're enjoying the content, don't hesitate to subscribe. So that's all for this video, guys. I'll see you in the next one. That's FNC Aquatics. Bye bye.